Aussie Overlaw'd. He'll fight for your rights, and he's got his own channel shining bright. From the courtroom to the web, he's got it all. Sharing legal knowledge, answering the call. He breaks it down in a language we all understand. The Aussie Overlaw'd taking a stand. With his Aussie charm and his legal know-how, he's the hero we need, showing us how. He fights for justice, no case too tough. The Aussie Overlaw'd, he's more than enough. He's more than enough. In Melbourne town, where the suits all grind, there's a lawyer with a vision, one of a kind. He's the Aussie Overlaw'd. He'll fight for your rights, and he's got his own channel shining bright. From the courtroom to the web, he's got it all. Sharing legal knowledge, answering the call. He breaks it down in a language we all understand. The Aussie Overlaw'd taking a stand. With his Aussie charm and his legal know-how, he's the hero.
And good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to today's episode of To Be Advised on the Law News and Laughter channel, because I'm still undecided. How we doing, folks? It is Saturday. Thank you for those of you that have shown up that is bright and bushy-tailed and all that sort of jazz, and thank you to those of you that it's Saturday night and you've got nowhere else to be. Cheers. Oh, hang on, I need to change my beer cozy over. Completely forgot about that. Gemini, kill me. There we go. So tonight we're going to be looking at a legal news roundup, just the random stories that I've been saving up throughout the week and seeing what's what and who's who, who's suing who's doing what, who's behind bars, who took an underage girl that was drunk back to their police station and had their way with her and then was fired. So it's going to be an interesting night. We've got that. We've got the Idaho bar has issued a ethics ruling. We've got Just Stop Oil protesters being sentenced to 2 years in prison, and then someone else promptly doing exactly what they did. And the court has thrown out a manslaughter charge in relation to a gas station death, shall we say. And we're going to find out exactly why. So stick around, people. Welcome. And let's enjoy our, you know what, screw it. Knew that was getting clipped either way. Yeah, well, you know, shit happens. All right, so getting started. Valve will see you in court. No, really, Steam's just updated its subscriber agreement so that all disputes and claims will proceed in court. Because, you know, it used to be the day where, much like Disney, they had binding arbitration included in various agreements. Well, Valve's just gone through and updated their end user license agreement. So whenever you download a game, whenever you open up the app, well, I mean, on Windows, they're still called apps now, aren't they, under Windows 11, which is a little bit weird. I've never really understood that. But, hang Hang on, why is the chat not pop? There it goes. Had local police duty arrest a story. Just looked at the details. You don't want it. Enough. Look, we've got enough bad cop stories, and if things get slow, we've got to solve Sit being arrested. So we'll look. We may have some fun and get to that video by the end of it. If you live outside the United Kingdom or the European Union, you might have had a pop-up lunge into your Steam game today, informing you, hopefully, that updates to the Steam subscriber agreement had affected your consumer rights. Nice how they make that. Do you want to develop an app? Do I have it tattooed across my forehead? Not to develop any app? Oh, shit, hang on. Shelby Fogg. Nearly finished my first semester of nursing. Need a nap. Oh, that's... A, congratulations on making it through the first semester. B, enjoy the nap. I kind of gathered it'd be something horrific like that, Stinge, but cheers. Are they the parent company? I thought Steam was its own company. No, so Steam is most definitely owned by Valve. One of what the subset video was like. Oh, I wonder. That's because Valve is removing both its class action waiver and forced arbitration clauses for affected countries. As the notice reads, the updated dispute resolution provisions are in Section 10 and require all claims and disputes to proceed in court and not arbitration. So they've sort of swung from one extreme to the other. It used to be that you're forced to go into arbitration, which is an alternative dispute resolution situation. You sit in a room, usually across a table from the other party. You'll have the arbitrator sitting in between at the top of the table, and it's much like a mediation, except you're making your case to the arbitrator, and it's basically a very informal version of court. You have conversations with both sides. The arbitrator will eventually make a decision, and by going to arbitration, you agree that whatever the arbitrator decides will be legally binding. And generally, you'll sign an arbitration agreement to that end that is legally enforceable. I was very upset to learn with TOS update that Valve is giving me my firstborn back. Now I have to feed the kid. It's interesting that now they're swinging it the other way. They're basically saying, no, arbitration is no longer an option. Forced arbitration clause is, as the name suggests, a clause that forces those who agree to the contract to settle disputes by arbitration. Instead of going to court, you and the respondent, in this case Valve, would have several meetings with an independent arbitrator who is then able to give a legally binding award. What this clause can and can't handle depends on the country's individual laws. For example, in 2022, the United States Congress ended forced arbitration applying to sexual assault cases, but by and large, they're considered a tidier way of handling legal disputes. Yes, because almost always an arbitration clause or arbitration agreement is going to have a confidentiality clause. Hello, Brybear. Thank you for using your membership chat too. About 3 months. Cheers. They do, however, often come under criticism for handing a lot of power over to big companies that use these clauses. Yes, because obviously, for example, where they're one-sided agreements, they're usually forced onto end users, and more likely than not, the arbitration clause itself will include a provision that the arbitrator is chosen by the company with whom you're forming the contract with. And a lot of the time, it'll be an ex-employee or a former lawyer or someone who is, we won't say biased because they're not technically supposed to be biased, but we know. Arbitrations don't typically have juries. Arbitrators can consider apparent fairness over the exact letter of the law, and if you lose the case, it's very hard to challenge. So why has Valve made this change? Well, PC Gamer reached out to them and will update the article if they receive a response, but they're willing to bet that the concept of arbitration overload has something to do with it. Back in 2020, companies like Comcast and AT&T were ambushed when a few enterprising lawyers discovered that, as an alternative to class action lawsuits, people under forced arbitration could simply band together and file their request for arbitration all at once. Imagine that. They thought that they got a nice little tidy way of dealing with things, breaking them up into individual cases. And then they get a knock on the door and they're served with 350 odd requests for arbitration that all have to be completed within a certain period of time. And if they're all for the same thing, yeah, good luck with that. I love this. I love how they phrase this. It's sort of like a real world DDoS attack. um, Many companies, it turns out, can't handle the caseload. This resulted in companies like DoorDash having to foot the bills in the millions after receiving 6,000 claims. DoorDash was later forced to pay out by federal judge William Alsop, who said via the New York Times, "Your law firm and all the defense law firms have tried for 30 years to keep plaintiffs out of court. Suddenly, it's not in your interest anymore. Now you're wiggling around trying to find some way to squirm out of your agreement." Um, yeah, this is what happens when, the odd legal loophole is found and it can be abused and abused. It looks like a. Ooh. I was going to say that it looks like a whorehouse at the end of the night. But anyway. Turns out Valve has actually been hit by such arbitration zergs, and recently too. As reported by Reuters late last year, Valve filed a lawsuit against Zyga, a small law firm that had alleged antitrust violations on behalf of more than 50,000 customers of Valve's game distribution platform Steam. In that case, Valve shared a series of slides in which the firm allegedly described the move as an investment opportunity, reading, "We could immediately begin recruiting claimants to pursue the claims a federal judge now ruled are well pled and potentially viable, but for which 1 billion," that's their bold, not their house, "customers could be compelled to arbitration." Yeah, the ultimate F around and find out. Just think about it. Steam is installed on any number of computers around the world. 1 billion is not out of the realm of possibility there, in terms of how many people actually use it, how many people buy games through it, and how it is utilized. Like, that's hilarious. Then there's even a website that's still up if you go looking for it, which claims you could be entitled to hundreds or thousands in compensation on account of illegal business practices. Now listen, while it's entirely possible Valve has changed its policy on forced arbitration for some completely different reason, yeah, I highly doubt that, I would bet a decent sum that the headache of such a clause, in light of the Zega case, is probably part of why the company's doing away with it. Steam's new agreement reads that to subscribers outside the UK and the EU, you and Valve agree that all disputes and claims between you, including any dispute or claim that arose before the existence of this or any prior agreement, shall be commenced and maintained exclusively in any state or federal court located in King County, Washington, having subject matter jurisdiction. Good bloody luck with that. There's no way in hell that they're not going I would actually be really interested to see whether or not. Hang on, let me check. Let me check something. What do I need? I need a open tab there. Hmm. I want to have a look at something. Yeah, I didn't think that'd be the case. So the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission here in Australia has already ruled that Valve can't enforce that. They've already been through the federal court here in Australia, saying that they are subject to the jurisdiction because the end users are here. Foreign corporations that supply goods or services to Australia consumers have strict obligations under Australia's consumer protection legislation, even where proper law of a supplier's contract is a foreign law. Contractual terms that limit a company's liability in contradiction to the remedies available to Australian consumers under the Australian consumer law risk breaching that law. The supply of digital content is likely to be found to take place in Australia if it is downloaded and accessed in Australia, even if the supplier has a role in the process from the international location. Representations made on a website to Australian consumers can amount to conduct in Australia, even where the company is foreign-based and manages its website from overseas. That's hilarious. And that's been on the book since 2017, so that's... Yeah, like I said, good luck trying to enforce that. In other words, if you live in an affected country, then Valve will quite literally see you in court and nowhere else, please. I mean, look, there's obviously benefits to that. I'm curious as to why they also removed the class action from it as well. Valve's updated the Steam subscriber agreement. The updates may affect your legal rights. Da da da. I'm not going to read through the whole damn thing. But where are we? Acceptance of agreements, licenses. Don't care about any of that. Here's the educational law jurisdiction. You and Valve agree this agreement shall be deemed to have been made and executed in the state of Washington, USA, and Washington law, excluding conflict of law principles and the Convention of Contracts of the International Sale of Goods, governs all disputes and claims arising out of in relation to. Yeah. Can they just pay attorneys to do it all on Zoom meetings? There's certain things here with the federal court where you do have to be physically present. A good chunk of it would just be dealt with in Zoom. But the reason that I say that good luck trying to enforce Washington law on Australian consumers is because we have the Australian Competition and Consumer Law Commission, as well as what's called the ACL, the Australian Consumer Law, which is extraordinarily robust. They look after the lawyers who are excited. They always win. Well, depends how you No, you're right. The lawyers always win. We're the ones that always come out on top in these situations. Sent you a link to something very nerdy on Discord that the wife got me. Sent a photo. I'll send you a photo when I get mine. Oh, okay. All right. I'll have a look in a bit. Interesting. You and Valve hereby consent to the exclusive jurisdiction of such courts and waive any objection to have personal jurisdiction or venue in such courts. Yeah, bullshit. That won't hold. If the laws where you live mandate alternative dispute resolution options, you may seek a remedy under those options. If you're a consumer who lives in Russia, you may also seek a remedy under Russian state laws. Interesting. Check general on Discord for 2 stupid little video edits of you. Oh, God. All right, 1 second. I shall have a look, see. I am being made fun of today. Not that I care less. You know, at some point I'm just going to do a stream where I just get a bunch of you guys on and you can just say whatever the fuck you want. Might as well get it all out of your systems.
Do a barrel roll.
Well, at least that's going to good use. Oh, sick. I love those. Not bad for $95 too. Oh, hang on. Is that standard V wide fit or is it not better? Yeah, I could never wear Converses though. But good on you and hopefully you enjoy them. Don't you put something in general? Oh, I don't like that. That play. Uh, well, the second one's sure as shit isn't working. Opening TikTok. Look, mildly creepy Psycho Doll, but like, shit, I need the news page.
I laughed and said, "What are you talking
No.
about? He cheated on me because I chose." I laughed and said, "What are you talking about? He cheated on me because I chose studying for a final instead of going."
No, that is not what I meant to type in either. Holy crap, I'm having a bad night of it tonight.
And I think, yeah, I think we do have his description. Can we take that? Let's take his description. Okay.
It's actually really clever and well done. I got to give you that. Like, well done.
Emotional damage.
I don't want to show the second one. Because I think that will stir certain people up. But well done, Psycho Doll. That's really well done. The editing's getting really good. All right. Okay, Idaho State Bar issues ethics opinion on attorneys dropping cases amid public defense change. Starting on Tuesday, the state of Idaho will take over the cost and responsibility of public defense for indigent defendants in the state. Public defenders can't walk away from cases without a judge's permission, even if their new state contracts mean that they will get paid less. Idaho State Bar issued an ethics opinion on September 18 on attorneys withdrawing from pending criminal cases as the changeover date for statewide public defense system nears. Starting Tuesday, the state of Idaho will take over the cost and responsibility of public defense for indigent defendants in the state. Prior to October 1, the responsibility for the cost of the public defense was on the counties, which varied county to county. Some counties used in-house public defense, while others contracted to outside attorneys. The change in the state came after sweeping legislation formed a state office after years-long litigation over inadequate public defense in Idaho. Still too late for the guy in the Idaho trial, though. You know what? I don't even know why I care about that. While about 77% of the new state public defender employees would receive a salary increase, 7% of the salaries would remain the same. About 15% of employees would see a decrease from their current county pay rate. Damn, imagine being one of the lawyers that's copping a 15%. Imagine being one of the 15% that'll see a cut in their pay rate for doing public defendant work. Some attorneys have chosen not to sign on with the state public defender's office and have chosen not to be contracted attorneys with SPD. This is affecting Coburger. But is it, though? That could potentially leave hundreds of defendants without an attorney, triggering the Idaho State Bar to issue its opinion. In a story published by Idaho Reports last week, at least one public defender said he planned to withdraw from more than 100 pending cases. When the new state public defender, Eric Fredrickson, was asked about the issue, which is not isolated to one attorney, he said he'd wait for the Idaho State Bar's opinion. We've filed in my office probably 200 motions to withdraw, and judges have granted most of them, attorney Terry Ratliff told Idaho Reports on Friday. They're not granting ones where a judgment has already been entered, and defendants have 42 days to appeal if they choose. Ratliff, who previously contracted with Elmore County but isn't signing on to the state public defender's office, said he supports a bar's opinion and the judge's choice as he wants to protect his client's appellate rights. The bar issued the opinion after multiple requests to address the change in the state system. It was brought up in court the other day. Oh, no shit. Sounded like it was in the hearing, and Taylor was talking about a contract might not be contributed. Huh. Interesting. Bar opinion states that a lawyer must file a motion to withdraw if compensation becomes an issue. The judge may deny the defendant's motion. The opinion also includes details around how and when the lawyer may request a withdrawal. The lawyer must assess whether there is a significant risk that the representation of the client will be materially limited due to their personal financial interests, i.e. a reduction in pay rate to perform the same legal services. So the 15% that will be taking a pay cut are the ones that are more likely going to be able to get out of representing people. I'm conflicted on that because on the one hand, you're materially fucking up someone's defense, really, if your lawyer just up and quits mid case. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I mean, there's got to be fair compensation for the work done. If a lawyer determines that there is a significant risk that their representation of one or more clients will be materially limited because of their own personal interests, then the lawyer has a concurrent conflict of interest for withdrawing, according to the opinion. Additionally, if a judge believes that withdrawing as a representative will jeopardize the defendant's rights, the lawyer must stay on the case. In that case, the state would pay the attorney at its designated rate, even if it's less than what the attorney received from their county contract. Courts have a broad discretion as to whether or not to grant a motion to withdraw. According to the opinion, if a court denies the lawyer's motion to withdraw from the case, even if the lawyer's request to withdraw is due to a clear clear conflict of interest, the lawyer must continue to represent the client. Yeah, but then doing it at the contract rate, I think that, no, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, the state bar should have to pick up the tab on that. If they've entered into an agreement where like 15% of the public defenders are going to cop a pay cut and they're still expecting them to finish and continue to work on the cases at the same rate, then as far as I'm concerned, they should be picking up the difference. That's pretty messed up, actually. So, okay, so that's already apparently affected the Koberger case, has it? Interesting. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the federal indictment. Historic federal indictment against Adams claims he fraudulently got $10 million in public funds, $123,000 in free luxury travel, and ritzy perks. Oh, to be a mayor of a big city. Wonder if the Idaho case will ever get to trial with all the delays. If he gets a new lawyer, probably another delay. I would fully expect that there'd be a further delay if she pulls out of it. Mayor Eric Adams took bribes, including $123,000 in free flights and other ritzy perks from foreign nationals in exchange for favors, according to a bombshell federal indictment unsealed by Manhattan prosecutors on Thursday. The historic 5-count indictment, the first against a sitting New York City mayor, details an alleged decade-long pattern of corruption by Adams that includes fraudulently obtaining $10 million in public campaign funds. And they just realized that his lawyer is Alec Baldwin's lawyer. Oh, no shit. I want to know how... I kind of feel like the New York Post should have included that he allegedly took bribes. I mean, he's been indicted. He hasn't been found guilty. Revelations came after the mayor was indicted by a grand jury on conspiracy, wire fraud, and bribery charges among the long-running federal probe. In 2024, Eric Adams, the defendant, became Brooklyn Borough president. Thereafter, for nearly a decade, he sought and accepted improper valuable benefits such as luxury international travel, including from wealthy foreign business people, and at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence on him, said the 57-page indictment. Damn. Yet they don't care about the $800 million lost by the former mayor's wife. He pulled the race card in the local news interview about the allegation that the whole group of his friends are behind the corruption. Okay. As Adams' prominence and power grew, his foreign national benefactors sought to cash in on the corrupt relations with him, particularly when in 2021 it became clear that he would become New York City's mayor. Adams agreed, providing favorable treatment in exchange for illicit benefits that he received. Adams' first court appearance was scheduled for Friday at noon, which, at the Manhattan Federal Courthouse. Oh, that's right. He pled not guilty to all charges. Mayor will surrender to federal authorities sometime before then, which he did. In the sprawling indictment, prosecutors laid bare an alleged scheme that helped Adams underwrite his 2021 mayoral campaign while sharing him with free hotel rooms, flights on Turkey's national airline, and meals at high-end restaurants. Well, shit. Former mayor's wife can't account for $800 million for mental health programs. Well, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. It's really easy to misplace $800 million. Just ask the Victorian Labor government. It's now going to cost them an extra $800 million to finish a project that they started 3 years ago. Like, it's really easy to misplace that kind of money when you're in state or local government. Down the back of a really big couch. She needed a lot of mental health assistance, apparently. In exchange, Adams allegedly pressured Big Apple officials to waive inspections and push through approval of the Turkish consulate in Manhattan, the indictment charges. Okay. Damn, you know it's good when they've got when they've got a big board like that sits out all the charges with shopping therapy. After Adams allegedly helped grease Fire Department New York inspections on the Turkish consulate, a Turkish official offered him effusive praise, documents state. You are a true friend of Turkey. As part of the scheme, prosecutors allege that Adams accepted straw donations facilitated by senior officials within the Turkish diplomatic establishment in exchange for him and his companions getting free or discounted flights to far-flung destinations such as France, China, Sri Lanka, India, Hungary, and Turkey. He's accused of accepting tens of thousands of dollars in free flights from a Turkish airline while he was Brooklyn Borough president. Indictment charges. At one point, he also allegedly paid $600 to stay 2 nights at a luxury suite in the St. Regis Hotel in Istanbul. Is Istanbul and Constantinople in Istanbul, Constantinople? Well below the actual cost of $7,000. The wife watched the grand final. I didn't really want to see my team get slaughtered, which is exactly what happened. So don't worry about it too much. It's only 800 million. We've lost billions on the dysfunctional F-35s. And the Turkey before going to Beijing and China. Huh. Adams at times would allegedly create and instruct others to create fake paper trails in order to falsely suggest that he'd actually paid for travel benefits, the indictment states. Free upgrade to business class for 2 on a round trip from New York to India. Okay. Free business class tickets on for 3 on round trip from New York to France, Turkey, and China. Heavily discounted stay in the St. Regis in Istanbul. Oh my god. Istanbul. Turkey with dressing, gravy, or cranberry sauce. I generally prefer the turkey with gravy, but I can understand the allure of the cranberry sauce. It's just not something I've ever really had it with. Business class upgrades. Okay. Heisner also allegedly compounded his gains from the illegal campaign contributions by gaming the city's matching funds program, which provides a generous match for small dollar donations, the court's papers state. Adams' campaign received more than $10 million in matching funds as a result of phony certifications. Don't forget, we've also accidentally sent hundreds of millions of dollars to the Ukraine and other countries. They got a bunch of free Air Turkey flights. And, like, hotel stays and shit like that. Did I knock my camera so far out of it? Okay. About that. Meanwhile, prosecutors allege Adams deleted messages with others involved in his alleged misconduct, including at one point assuring a co-conspirator that he always deleted her text messages according to the filing. Are we sure that's not just, like, I don't know, an affair? Business class flights in India come with your own toilet for the flight. PT, I don't know if you're joking or not. And that's really bad. This Halloween season, I'll let you know cranberry sauce represents blood. Does it? Huh. See, now I just got the Simpsons Halloween episode where they summon Tom Turkey to take out the Grand Pumpkin. But he turned his personal cell phone over. Investigators found that it was locked and needed a password to open. No shit. Never hand an unlocked phone over to an investigator. It's really straightforward. The mayor claimed he'd only just changed the password a day earlier to prevent his staff from accidentally or intentionally deleting its contents amid the ongoing probe per the indictment. Oh, bullshit. Adams further claimed he'd forgotten the password that he just set and thus was unable to provide the FBI with the password to unlock the phone. Bullshit. I'm sorry. I had to cough. Bullshit. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, told a news conference on Thursday that Adams had a duty to disclose gifts that he received, but kept the public in the dark year after year. He told the public that he received no gifts even after he was being showered with them. This was a multi-year scheme to buy favor with a politician on the rise. In total, Adams is facing 5 criminal charges, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, solicitation of contributions by a foreign national, and bribery. This is why you have a tech guy lose your MDM profile and remotely wipe the phone. He faces up to 45 years in prison if convicted on all counts. 45 years in prison because he got a bunch of extra flights and took $10 million in campaign funds. I'm unsure if that's excessive or if it's not. I mean, I would rather that it not be, because that's taxpayer money. That's money that was taken from hardworking individuals. That's pretty freaking messed up, if you ask me. Oh, but anyway. All right, this one's got a trigger warning on it. Down to Florida, where a cop took an intoxicated underage girl home for sex after meeting her on an app and driving her to the liquor store. Pretty sure he wanted to get her licked her up. Oh my god, I can't even do the joke. Ugh. Pretty sure he wanted to get her liquored up so that he could lick her up. Ugh. An officer in the Tallahassee Police Department has been fired and arrested after he was found with a minor girl. Danny Moore, 26, was charged with lewd and lascivious battery, molestation, and conduct, as well as contributing to the delinquency of a minor, a news release said. The police were called to the Jackson Square Apartments in Tallahassee, Florida, for a welfare check on an intoxicated minor. When they arrived, they found Moore, who told the officers the girl was inside his apartment, provided his name, but a false age and workplace. Dude, you were a cop. Like they weren't going to be able to look that up. Tallahassee PD Special Victims Unit. No shit, Special Victims Units actually exist? I thought that was a... Never mind. Quickly discovered Moore had been employed at the department since July 2023. The minor was immediately taken to local hospital for treatment. Moore and the minor met on an app, planning to meet in a parking lot. Moore then drove them to a liquor store to buy alcohol before going home to have sex. He was charged and immediately terminated from the police department after the department learned of the nature of his actions and that he failed to follow proper procedure, according to the news release. What? Is there a proper procedure for picking up a minor and taking her to have sex? The men and women who protect and serve our community are held to the highest standard of the law, said the police chief Lawrence Revel. Officer misconduct is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Every one of our officers took an oath to protect the community, and every one of them will be held accountable for their actions that do not uphold Tallahassee PD's core values, the department policies, and Florida statutes. They shouldn't let kids that young work in the mines. Damn it, Dan, you ain't in Canton anymore. We acted swiftly to terminate Officer Moore, and we will continue to conduct a thorough investigation into the incident. The investigation is still open, but there could be additional charges. God, it's on Facebook? Are you serious? Termination following arrest and misconduct with a minor. Danny Moore, 26, for lewd and lascivious battery, lewd and lascivious molestation, lewd and lascivious conduct, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. I'm assuming that's just a random photo. I don't want to log in. Bad enough that I still have a friggin' Facebook page. Back the blue no matter what. Every department has an SVU, just not always called Special Victims Unit. No, that's just it. I was surprised because I've never actually heard that department called the Special Victims Unit before. Usually sex crimes, or it's, any number of things. So, all right. Moving on. We have an update in the flying murderous jumping castle case. Criminal court case for Hillcrest Primary School jumping castle tragedy faces fresh delays. A coroner's concerns about the condition of the jumping castle at the center of the Hillcrest Primary School tragedy have led to fresh delays about the criminal case. On Friday morning, Rosemary Gamble, the owner of the company Taz Zorb, which supplied the jumping castle to the Devonport School in December 2021, appeared by phone in the Devonport Magistrates Court. 6 children at the school died: Zane Miller, Peter Dott, Jalila Jane Marie Jones, Addison Stewart, Jai Sheehan, and Chase Harrison, and 3 were seriously injured when the jumping castle was lifted into the air by a gust of wind. Literally, flying jumping castle. 30 feet in the air, kids fell out sideways, 6 died, 3 injured. All because the morons that were operating it at the time did not stake it down. It was literally like a big-ass balloon that was on the ground. Part of a TV show. In November 23, Miss Gamble was charged with one count of failing to comply with work health and safety regulations after a lengthy investigation by WorkSafe Tasmania. She pled not guilty to the charge. In March this year, Magistrate Duncan Fairley ordered that the jumping castle, which is currently in the possession of the Tasmania Police, be made available by the end of April for expert witnesses Miss Gamble's defence lawyers had organised. Defence lawyer Chris Dockery previously told the court that they would be calling an inflatables expert and an expert in geotechnical engineering. However, in court on Friday morning, Crown Prosecutor Madeline Wilson said access to the jumping castle had not yet been provided. They've had since April. It is now September. You stake it down, how will the jumping castle jump? It's not supposed to jump. It's supposed to bounce. But you have the tethers that run from the top to the ground to make sure it doesn't fly away. Fly away home. Ms. Wilson detailed a timeline of events of efforts for which Mr. Dockery commended her to gain access to the jumping castle that had so far been unsuccessful. She told the court that the jumping castle was currently an exhibit of the coroner's court, and the coroner would decide on July 24 whether to release it for the defendant's witnesses to inspect. How old is this? Oh shit, this is back in July. I stand corrected. Why did this only just come up in my newsfeed? Parents need to go back to school. All those names are misspelled. Coronial inquest into the deaths of the children previously previously scheduled, but has been adjourned indefinitely while the criminal case proceeds. Ms. Wilson told the court that the coroner wanted to know further details about the nature of the inspections intended. Poor kids. Well, they're not supposed to just withhold evidence. Let's be honest. You wanted to see the glasses that I chose? See, the irony is, I put in multiple ideas in the back chat, and I think he must have assumed that one of the things back there was from me. He didn't wind up picking anything. So, but hey, I think it's going to be a good stream. It's going to be a good box for him to open up. That's for sure. This. What bullshit is texting me now? Use viral. Want to uncover the secrets of creator success? Check out our best-selling services. Fuck off. Not desperate enough to be buying services like that. She wanted to be assured that there would be no effect of the integrity of the exhibit, Ms. Wilson said. Mr. Dockery said he understood the coroner was unlikely to oppose releasing the jumping castle for inspection, but wanted to give all interested parties the chance to inspect it on the same day, so it only needs to be inflated once. Because it's such a problem to turn it on and inflate it more than once. He said that if that can happen on August 19, reports from both defense experts should be available by October, and they could be ready for a hearing by November. Ms. Wilson said she was also working on a detailed agreed facts for the hearing, so fewer eyewitnesses would be needed in the court. It's kind of disturbing to think that this took off. Like, you wouldn't think it, just look at it. It is our fervent wish that it will minimise the exposure of any child witnesses to the court process. Magistrate Fairley gave the lawyers the option of listing the matter on an urgent basis after July 24 if access to the jumping castle was not granted, but tentatively listed the case for a 10-day hearing from November 5. It is still a somewhat fluid situation unless and until the expert reports are received, he said. He bailed Miss Gamble to appear in person at the Devonport Magistrates Court in November. That thing killed children? Yeah, because they fell out of the sky, unfortunately. No, you're not muted, dog. Did it fly into space? It flew 3 stories into the air, and the kids fell out sideways. So, yeah. Might as well have been space for the 6 of them. Let's go to something funny, shall we? Woman again busted for a dildo battery. For the second time in 2 years, a Florida woman has been arrested for a dildo-related domestic battery. Chelsea White, 35, and her boyfriend were in the kitchen about to eat when the man discovered that his missing glass dildo was inside White's backpack in the couple's Fort Pierce residence. Can we just take a second for that? He discovered that his missing glass dildo was in her backpack. The mother of his child stole something from him and it got physical, according to the arrest affidavit. During an 11 p.m. tussle, White and the 35-year-old victim exchanged assorted blows. I'll bet they did. After the pair briefly separated, the man told cops White began hitting him again after he went to grab the backpack. White was standing in the kitchen and threw the glass dildo at her. She threw the glass dildo at him. The dildo missed its target, instead hitting a door and waking the couple's child. Oh my god! Imagine that being the way that you. Oh god! The kid walks out, picks it up, and goes, "Mommy, what's this?" That's your daddy's dildo. Jesus. White subsequently grabbed the bag and walked away from the property. She was located hours later and arrested for domestic battery. White, who was locked up in the county jail in lieu of a $1,000 bond, was arraigned on Wednesday on the misdemeanor count. Her next court appearance is scheduled for October 4. When questioned by deputies about the recent confrontation, the victim said that White was arrested in the past for a similar incident in which they got into an altercation over a dildo. Is the dildo okay? I mean, look, it's glass and it hit a door. Let's assume that the door is made out of wood, so that it's got a little bit of give and take, and that it didn't necessarily knock it off the hinge. Depending on how hard it was thrown, theoretically it should be okay. It concerns me that I know enough about a glass dildo to make a reasonable assumption about that. This can go one of two ways, Nick or Diddy. Oh no. As first detailed in the pages, White was busted in late 22 when a verbal argument over a handbag and a sex toy turned violent. White, investigators charged, kicked and bit the victim who had asked White to return the sex toy to him because he owned it. Oh my god. So this is as many times in 2 years that she's tried to steal his dildo. Bloody hell. He refused to give the sex toy back to the victim. She subsequently was found guilty of battery and sentenced to 12 months probation. So she waited till the probation ended in order to try and steal the dildo again. Sure the door took it well? Oh, I'm sure the door took it well. She was also ordered to pay $800 in fines and court fees and was required to complete a batterer's intervention program. It's unclear if it was the same dildo involved in the 2022 and the 2023 episodes. Oh, God. Oh, hang on. I wanted to read the affidavit. On August 31, 2024, I responded to an address in reference to reference to domestic trouble. Wrong use of two there, officer, but anyway. Dispatch advised the complainant and the mother of his child stole something from him and it got physical. Upon arrival, I made contact with the victim in the front of the residence. The victim advised he and the suspect had been dating on and off for approximately 15 years. They have a child in common. He said his girlfriend, Chelsea White, assaulted him. She started walking northbound on US 1 with his backpack. She has blonde hair, last seen wearing a black and blue eco hoodie, black pants, and a backpack. Well, yeah, if she stole his backpack, she's probably wearing the backpack. Backpack. The description was provided to Deputy Walker, number 300, Deputy Flores, 363, and Canine Deputy Sheila, 284. Release the firm missile. The dildo, never your dildo. Exactly. Gives a new meaning to dick or dildo. The description was the canine officer attempted to track down the suspect, but their search yielded negative results. Well, you're not really going to want to sniff her out, are you? I spoke with the victim and he said he and his girlfriend were in the kitchen about to eat. He noticed the bag in the corner of the kitchen. He went to search it because he noticed his box was missing, which contained a glass dildo. As he began to search the bag from the back, Chelsea wrapped her arms around his neck to try and take him to the ground. When she asked, what? When asked if she was choking him, he said that he was still able to breathe and talk. So she's a little pussy. Any domestic problems that involve dildos are automatically a red flag. You're in a toxic relationship. No shit, you think? The victim was able to throw her to the ground and he punched her one time. The victim and Chelsea began to physically fight for a few minutes before the victim backed off. Chelsea attempted to kick the victim and he grabbed her legs and pulled them straight to prevent her from kicking him. He moved her legs out of the way, grabbed her arms, pulled her ponytail back and pinned her to the ground. Say it. Say you like eating red carpet. The victim got off Chelsea and walked into the living room away from Chelsea. She was able to get up and start swinging at him again. He went to the backpack and she started hitting him again. The victim was on the phone with the dispatch. She was standing in the kitchen and threw the glass dildo at him. The dildo hit their door, which caused their child to wake up. He grabbed the child and walked outside. He said Chelsea grabbed the bag and walked north on US 1. The victim refused to write a written statement and said that the audio was his statement. The victim provided an audio recording of the incident, which was 12 minutes long. In the audio, you could hear the victim and Chelsea arguing back and forth. At one point, the victim screamed at Chelsea to get off of him. A link was sent to the victim and the audio was uploaded to evidence.com. The victim did state Chelsea was arrested in the past for a similar incident where they got into an altercation over a dildo. Yeah, I'd be worried about microfractures in the glass. Like, this is pretty messed up. Just go down to Goodwill and pick up your own glass dildo. Ew. Not really something that you want secondhand. When I made contact with Chelsea, I asked what happened. She said nothing had happened. At first, she was hesitant to identify herself, but confirmed she was Chelsea. I explained to her that we were investigating the incident that occurred between her and the victim. She said she left the scene because she was tired of getting beat up by the victim. She did not provide more information. I placed her in handcuffs, checked for tightness, and double locked. Before asking more questions, I read her Miranda rights from an agency card, which she understood her rights, but refused to answer any more questions. Fair enough. She was transported to St. Lucie County Jail without incident. Department of Children and Families were notified of the incident. Domestic violence pack was completed and later submitted. A victim's right brochure and domestic pamphlet were given to the victim. Pictures were uploaded to evidence.com. BWC available, no further information. So what's the third page then? Oh, this is the arrest affidavit. This is the one from 2022. Oh, please say glass dildo. On arriving, I met with the victim, stated he was having verbal arguments with his girlfriend, later identified as Chelsea White. Both the victim and White live at the same location. Having a verbal argument over a handbag and a sex toy owned by the victim. As the argument progressed, the victim asked White to return the sex toy to him because he owned it. White refused to give the sex toy back. How much you want to bet she refused to return it because the glass dildo was better than he was?
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Victim proceeded to pick up a handbag that was property of the White. The victim stated, "I have your bag, give me back my property." White proceeded to grab the bag. Both the victim and White were pushed back and forth with the bag. White began to kick the victim in attempts to get the bag. During the
Dork
struggle,
has donated $1 and says just cos LOL.
Thank you, Dork. Appreciate it. All I can think of how cold that would be sounds like the worst material to use. Gem. Warm running water. Yeah. I mean, you don't want to really use one of those straight off the bat. I mean, some people enjoy the coldness, I guess. But point is, if it's genuine glass, there's ways to warm it up. During the struggle, Some people put them in ice water. Yeah, some people, I don't kink shame here. We know that. I've seen a fight over a dildo in public at a conference, but it didn't result in an arrest. During this struggle for the bag, White fell onto the couch. White was still pulling the bag. White then proceeded to bite the victim while both were on the couch in a struggle. The victim stated that he punched her to make her stop biting him. Punch resulted in bruising on her left cheek and a busted inside lip. Victim disengaged with White and called 911 for police assistance. She's armed and dangerous. White states the same version of events, however, states that she was pushed down to the couch and was kicking the victim to get away from him, get away from her, then beat him. He then punched her. She firstly stated that her arm was also wrapped around the purse, however, then demonstrated the action to Deputy Holbert. She had a hold of the purse with just her hand and could have let go. I determined White to be the primary aggressor and placed her under arrest for simple battery and transported her to jail for processing. Conference fight was over an XL over an XL size one. Oh, that's bad. Send you something off YouTube if one associated with dildo assault. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, well if you did, I'm assuming it was through Discord. Woman beats man with huge dildo. I really...
I know I've been sharing these piece of shits of the day, but I saw this one and I could not resist showing you. So maybe we'll just call her a dumb criminal today. It is hilarious. I've been laughing for days and days. It's so funny. Okay, because I'm not downplaying that this girl really damaged this victim, because she really did. But it is kind of hilarious, and her...
I'm sorry, but the chick that hosts this channel, holy shit. What? Just found the headline. I was looking for the white body cam arrest. And you sent me this, but thank you, Stinge. No, back away quick. And she's not even the one that did the fighting with the dildo. This chick is. Woman beats her Tinder date with a 16-inch dildo for refusing to perform oral sex on her.
You know, that's really priceless, to be honest with you. So anyways, she did do some damage, and I saw this article and I thought, this is right up my alley, because some of y'all know that I did some sex toy review videos, and also
excuse me, what? Stingy, what did you send me? I mean, don't get me wrong, from this image, I believe it. Baltimore, Maryland. A 43-year-old woman was arrested last night after she assaulted a man she just met through Tinder with an oversized sex toy for refusing to go down on her. According to the police report, Latifah Smith found her victim, 29-year-old Jamal Davidson, through the social application Tinder, and the two decided to meet at a motel. Once on the site, things rapidly heated up and the two started making out and getting undressed. At some point during their sexual encounter, Miss Smith asked her partner to go down on her, but he refused. The couple then got into a violent argument, and the 240-pound woman totally lost it. Baltimore police spokesperson Lieutenant T.J. Walters described what happened next. She grabbed her dildo in her handbag and started beating him. She beat him at least 60 times and left him senseless.
Mommy milkers.
Every woman has a handbag dildo. According to Lieutenant Walters, she then used Mr. Davidson's inanimate body to give herself an orgasm before calling on. Wait, what? He died? Or he's knocked unconscious? She admitted she had used him as a sex toy while he was lying unconscious in his own blood. That 15-minute delay could have been fatal for the victim. Mr. Davidson was transported to the John Hopkins Hospital, where his condition was considered critical but stable. This is tying together so many plot points. Imagine the obituary if he'd passed. Okay, Jem might win tonight. It's cheaper than Rohypnol. Oh my god. Ms. Smith faces a total of 17 criminal charges, including accusations of aggravated assault and rape. If found guilty on all charges, she could face a fine of $1,135,000 and a total of 115 years imprisonment. What are you in for? Dildo battery? Putting the ape in grape. Oh my god. Her lawyer, Roger Todger Taylor, said her sexually aggressive behavior was caused by medication meant to increase her libido and announced that the 43-year-old would plead not guilty. Miss Smith was freed on a $110,000 bail this morning and is expected to appear in court in August for the beginning of her trial. Change dildo for lightsaber, and this sounds like an ad for the next installment of Disney Star Wars. That's a bold strategy, Carton. Let's see how it plays out. Oh my god. I can't even with this shit. Yeah, I say it all. Oh my god. Why that face though? Because she's high as a kite. She looks like Crazy Eyes from Orange is the New Black. Jeff keeps telling me that I have to watch that. Is it actually good or not? Okay, so there's nothing else to that. Oh, damn. Yeah, 16 inches. Like, that's... Size Queen! Okay, anyway. Moving the fuck on. Sinji redeemed himself and Hayden no longer has a boring show. This is true. Wait, my show was boring? Oh, fuck you. It's brilliant. The book's much better than... the book is much better, but it's very much almost the book. Okay. All right. Court throws out manslaughter charge against clerk in Detroit gas station. This show's never been boring. Well, occasionally. Look, I get it. There's an assault with a bigger one waiting in the article. No. All right, give me a minute. Oh my god, it's an 18-inch dildo. Detroit's correct is the correct pronunciation. Michigan Court of Appeals threw out a manslaughter charge against a Detroit gas station clerk who locked the door before an angry customer shot 3 bystanders, killing 1. Prosecutors have argued that the clerk's actions made him criminally responsible, but the appeals court said the involuntary manslaughter charge doesn't fit. It was not reasonably foreseeable that the customer, Samuel McRae, would pull out a gun and start shooting, the court said on Wednesday. Ayash was working behind protective glass at 3 a.m. when McRae's failed attempt to make a $3.80 electronic purchase turned to violence in May 2023. An interesting way to wake up. Well, you know. Video showed McRae repeatedly cursing and insisting that he was going to leave the gas station with the items. 3 more people entered before he pushed the button to lock the door, keeping the 4 inside. The door was eventually unlocked, but before anyone could leave, the 37-year-old Gregory Carlos Samuel Kelly was fatally shot and 2 more were wounded. My child was locked in there and he kept asking to open the door, let him out. He didn't want to be there with that, said Kelly's mother. To say that he, the clerk, is not responsible for anything, are you kidding me? No, he kept them there as a hostage. Let's go to the tape. Come on, just play. Hey, why? If you're getting aroused by this, you've got major issues, dude. Load? No, apparently not. All right, screw it. Moving on. I can't believe I'm having. They're. Oh, this is from January 2023. Aussie reading his news at night. Americans at 8 a.m. hearing dildo assaulted man raped. Remember when I used to do this show, like, this time last year at this time? And I used to be your cup of coffee morning wake up? All these shows like so boring and easy, like anyone could do it without even having to think about it because of how little effort it all takes. Thank you. Alleged armed robber was chased out of a Russian sex shop by an ingenious cashier who beat him with an 18-inch dildo. CCTV footage shows the employee chasing the man who entered the store with a knife off the premises in a place that I cannot name in July. However, it's unclear if the footage is real and police haven't revealed whether or not they're investigating. Beat his ass with a double-ended dildo. Thanks for that, Stinge. God. Okay. Oh, crap. And we got to go from one sex story to another. Former school resource officer pleads guilty to bestiality. I promise this wasn't supposed to be a Kinky Corner episode. It just sort of devolved that way. In Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, a former Kewaskum school resource officer was convicted of bestiality after pleading guilty to 3 counts of engaging in conduct with an animal. Stephen Rosales, 35, entered the pleas in the county court on Monday. Charges of photographing or filming sexual contact with an animal and selling or publishing obscene material of sexual contact with an email were dismissed but read into the record, meaning the judge can consider them when weighing the seriousness of the crimes at his sentencing. He'll be sentenced on November 26th. District Judge Eric Toney said the convictions carry a maximum of 9 years in prison and 9 years on extended supervision, but the prosecution's recommending no more than 5 years in prison. What the absolute fuck? Like, seriously. It was the class comfort animal. And T-Watt thought he was the degenerate. Well, you know. He pled not guilty to the charges in May of having an inappropriate relationship with a high school student. Wait. Did the bestiality charges come from him just getting it on with a really fat chick? Like a really fat student? You know, As Action 2 News reported, he pled not guilty. Prosecutors say Rosales and the student exchanged explicit photos and texts. While authorities were looking through his phone, they found conversations that prompted the bestiality charges. He was being investigated for sexual misconduct with a minor, and they found bestiality. Fuck me sideways. Morning, everyone. I hope your Saturday's doing well.
Dork has donated $2 and says, got to go. Remember to tip your streamer on the way out, people.
Thank you, Dork. Thank you for the $2 Rumble rant. Appreciate that, buddy. Oh, where's the tape on this? Please goddamn play.
A former Kewaskum school resource officer has
Kewaskum! It's literally
bond revoked after he pleads guilty today to a number of bestiality charges. 35-year-old Steven Rosales pleaded guilty to several charges, including taking and trying to sell video of the act. While looking through the phone, authorities found conversations that prompted the bestiality charges. As we've reported, Rosales originally pleaded not guilty to charges of having an inappropriate relationship with a student back in May. Prosecutors say Rosales and the high school student exchanged explicit photos and texts. In court today, he pleaded guilty to 3 of 5 charges he faced, with 2 other counts dismissed. He is expected to be back in court in about a month for a sentencing hearing.
What's the jurors?
fuck a duck, screw a kangaroo, 69 a porcupine, orgy at the zoo. The guy just ain't happy. Something tells me he's not a happy camper. You think? So it was a high school boy. Oh god, I hope not. What is the jurisdiction of the Colorado State Patrols? Specific duties include enforcing air traffic control laws in the state of Colorado on approximately 8,483 miles of state highway and more than 57,000 miles of country road. Oh, all traffic laws, not air traffic laws, you dipshit. Was it with the police dog? God, I hope not. Ooh. I've really got to take some time off from streaming sooner rather than later so that I can actually, like... How the fuck did the show devolve into this? That perp shot was even more chud than the chud guy. Woman hospitalized after liposuction procedure using an AliExpress dental phlegm suction machine. A woman is said to be in critical care after being subjected to a liposuction performed by an anesthetician who allegedly used a dental phlegm suction machine from AliExpress. Taken to her Facebook page on Sunday, September the 22nd, Louise Bell shared an alarming post warning people against certain Jolene aesthetics in Milton Keyes, UK. The people want dildos and bestiality. If that were true, there'd be more than 75 people watching. Speaking of which, how many of you have actually hit the like button? 54. So there's 21 of you that still haven't hit it. Come on, people. You know you wanna. How? One word, stingy. That's a fair call. Where are we? In the now viral Facebook post, Louise included a photo of the device Jolene Anderson, the beautician who owns Jolene Aesthetics, allegedly used on her daughter and another person who said that they were currently hospitalized. The screenshot showed the machine in question was an 18-liter per minute airflow electronic portable suction unit, which was sold for a couple of $100 on Chinese online shops. Please do not use Jolene Aesthetic in Bletchley. She isn't qualified to train students or to carry out any aesthetics. Louise wrote, the woman is said to be in critical care after being subjected to liposuction. Good God. Let's look at naked horses. Ew. Yes, I know I control the stream show force, and that's why I'm like, you know, stop. Is there any, like, are we really at that point in our lives where people are willing to risk their health, well-being, and livelihood in order to go under the knife for small amounts of money? Like, it's quite disturbing when you think about it, because we've got this fascination with being perfect and whatever else. And, like, don't get me wrong, that hasn't really changed at any point since, what, the 90s or even the early 80s. But at the same time, it's like, we didn't have cheap international surgery or, like, chemo, for example, that would cause... Yeah, exactly. People die from butt implants. Like, is it really worth it? Like, really? 21-year-old man is taking his mother to court for throwing away his comic collection. A 20-year-old Taiwanese man got so mad after his elderly mother threw away his prized manga collection without his consent that he took her to court and refused to reconcile with her. A 64-year-old woman from Chiayi City in Taiwan landed in hot water after throwing away her young son's 32-volume Attack on Titan manga collection. Damn, if they were originals, people are willing to carve their bodies up just to be perfect, whatever the hell that means. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a fat ass, but at the same time, it's like, well, would I be willing to do that? Don't touch the comics? Exactly. The two were living together, and the 64-year-old had become fed up with her son's ever-growing comic collection. So when she stumbled over his Attack on Titan manga collection and determined the volumes were a little damp, she decided to recycle. Why were they damp? She decided to recycle them and free up some much-needed space. She never checked with her son if it was okay, and when he came home and learned that his 32 volumes were gone, he was extremely angry and ended up calling the police on his mother. Well, to be fair, that would have been expensive. The scorned son filed a complaint against his mother with the local police and later took her to court for destroying his personal property without his consent. In court, the 20-year-old argued that the Attack on Titan was a very popular manga, so finding another complete collection would be extremely difficult considering that some of the 32 volumes are no longer in print and can be considered collector's items. On the other hand, his mother argued that some of the volumes were damp and that they were taking up so much room, so throwing them out of her home was justified. However, she expressed her desire to reconcile with her son, but he was unwilling to talk to her. Well, given he's unwilling to reconcile, I would assume that he's moving out. That's my question too, AP. Why were they damp? Like, that's weird. He's an insult weed, but he's not wrong. Hey, Just Dawn. The incident took place in February this year, but the district court only recently issued a verdict in the case, fining the mother 5,000 Taiwanese dollars, $160 for property damage, a sentence that can be commuted to community service. The failure to respect her son's property rights was inappropriate, the court ruled. According to Taiwanese media, the son is still unwilling to reconcile with his elderly mother. Oh, good God. What is this?
超红动漫《晋级的巨人》是不少动漫迷的最爱，从漫画。
Right. Oh, no closed captions. I mean, if you say $15 a pop, that's about 500 brand new. Yep. And it's not like they said, like, given that certain volumes that are no longer in print and it'd be quite difficult to get a hold of them, I can understand why he was pissed off. Like, anyway. New Jersey man caught with massive cache of illegal guns, knives, and explosives thanks to his own shameless Facebook post. Seriously, people, if you're going to commit a crime, don't post it on the internet. That is legal advice. Like, to anyone and everyone willing to listen, that is literally, like, just don't, okay? Don't post your crimes on the internet. A New Jersey man's shameless post on Facebook led police to uncover a massive cache of illegal guns, knives, and explosives stashed in the suspect's home in a quiet suburban block this week. Kyle Arena, 35 of New Jersey, is facing multiple firearms and weapons charges stemming from a home raid on Tuesday that yielded rifles, handguns, dozens of knives, ninja stars, brass knuckles, 129 fully loaded illegal high-capacity magazines, thousands of rounds. Most of this I don't care about. I'll just be blunt. The explosives, I'm a little more, you know. Thousands of rounds of ammunition and 4 explosives, the police said. He's got a Ford truck. Of course there was going to be guns on the property. An anonymous tipster alerted cops to Arenas concerning social media posts, probably his mum, an alleged arsenal of guns, and investigators had to look no further than his Facebook page for probable cause. He made a habit of flashing his guns online and posting questionable content in various Facebook groups, according to authorities. Oh, dude. Dude. Come on. In one post, he pointed a gun at people while driving in his car. In another post, he shared pics of illegal items such as silencers. In another photo, he can be seen holding up a rifle to his square black rim glasses, pretending to take aim at an unseen target. The emailed tip included screen grabs of the Facebook post to a group called Meal Team 6 Mid-Tier Main Group, according to authorities. That private group of gun enthusiasts boasts 14,500 members. Did he star in Transformers? Look, Dollar Store Shia LaBeouf there doesn't really, like, do it for me. You smell fed? I was kind of, you know. What's that, Lassie? Blow up the well. Oh, it was a fucking joke, AP. Jesus. Do not use Facebook reporting options or face removal. The rule encourages members to eschew Facebook content moderators for fear that any intervention in the private group would result in being shut down entirely. Wow, he's actually got ninja stars. That's pretty cool. The company you work for is owned by Ford. When you order Mike Shinoda off Temu. The multitude of evidence from his social posts. With the multitude of evidence from the social posts, the police were granted a search and seizure warrant called a temporary extreme risk protection order by a judge to search through the Lincoln Avenue home where he lives with his parents. Investigators found a huge arsenal of weapons hidden inside a crawl space inside the home, and bomb-sniffing dogs discovered 4 explosive devices. Smoke grenades? Maybe? Like, if they're going out of their way to call them explosive devices, that tells me that it's not. Like, nearby residents told ABC7 they couldn't believe one of the neighbors was hoarding a stockpile of deadly weapons. The fuck? The Shinoda joke's too close. I was in shock. Would never expected any. Oh my god! You know that video that I played yesterday about the bullshit? We're slowly making our way through the level of bullshit. Here's some bullshit from someone that was nearby. I would have never expected anything of that magnitude to happen in Totowa. I couldn't believe it. That's just crazy. What is he starting his own army or something? Officers seized all the items and arrested Arena without incident. He's being held in the Passaic County Sheriff's Office and faces multiple illegal firearms charges. He's due in court on Monday. The 65-year-old father, Felix Arena, was also taken into custody during the search. He was charged with disorderly conduct, terroristic threats, and resisting arrest. Dad's a badass. Why do these guys all have a very oval-shaped head? I got no idea. Who try to start their own army? That's nuts. Well, that's why you don't necessarily call it an army. You call it a group, or a brotherhood, or a gathering, or, you know, anything other than army or militia, for example. I wonder how much the police want for the magazines. I'll give 10 for 3 since they're used. Right. No, let's try and avoid cult too. Unless you're talking about Joe. Then, you know, cult away. A mutual defense society. Hey, that works. I'm just looking at the different knives and stuff. Like, he's got an impressive collection there. Ninja stars and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm looking at. No, we don't say clan. That gets us in trouble. The fuck would I care if a social media influencer and their boyfriend split after 7 months? Wait, what? Why Diddy testifying in the trafficking case will do more harm than good? They're already trying to... The Foot Clan all hail Shredder. Well, with the ninja stars. Yes, ninja stars are prohibited in Australia. Pretty much everything is prohibited in Australia. At some point, I will go through and show you the legislation for the prohibited weapons. Oh, yeah, in a follow-up on that, you know that case of the kid that fell asleep in court, so he had her arrested, one of the judges had her arrested? US judge demoted after detaining teenage girl during a field trip to the courtroom. A Detroit judge who briefly detained a teenage girl who fell asleep in his courtroom during the field trip to learn about the justice system was demoted to presiding over traffic court as he faces a federal lawsuit. Knives have always been 18 plus here. Or at least as long as I've been here, anyway. Judge Kenneth King was moved to the state court's traffic division after the incident on August 13. King was temporarily removed from the bench as he was completing mandatory training following his actions. We appreciate his effort in preparing for this role and wish him success as he transitions to his new responsibility, said Chief Judge William McConaughey in a statement. King is facing a federal lawsuit by Eva Goodman, 15, and her mother, Latorea Till, after Goodman was forced to put on jail garments, handcuffed, and put in an isolated holding cell during an educational trip to King's courtroom. The group was watching King conduct a hearing on a murder, something the lawsuit said forced Goodman to relive a traumatic event, causing the girl to shut down and fall asleep. I'm willing to call that a crock of shit. It's a traumatic event and it's caused her to fall asleep? Yeah, okay.
Seedfan85 has donated $5.00 and says the boomers got Ninja Stars banned because they thought it'd be fun after watching Shintaro.
Thank you very much for the super chat. That puts us $45 away from Dog Cam. And you just got $17 bucks. Congratulations. We can't fire you, but you'll wish we could. Pretty much. Living through court is actually pretty based. The group was watching the hearing, as well as King's admonishment of Goodman for falling asleep, was live streamed by King on the court's YouTube channel. The video was eventually removed from the platform. Oh, I doubt that very much. I'm pretty sure someone will have that out there, somewhere out there. At a press conference in August, Till said that her family was facing housing instability and Goodman had a late night before the field trip. The family did not know she would be on such a field trip and that Goodman had never been to a courtroom before. I just want Judge King to take accountability for the way he humiliated my daughter, she said at the time. I feel like he owes her a public apology. Not only that, he owes her more than just a public apology. Okay, what does he actually owe her then? In the lawsuit, Goodman's lawyers argue that King violated his civil rights and acted beyond the scope of his authority. Common sense and facts demonstrate that a grown man became rattled by a young girl that he falsely concluded to be and cast as a delinquent, who was actually a fragile teen forced to inattentively face a past trauma during that actual prior court proceeding that had ended before shutting down during class. King told the Detroit Free Press in August that he did not act inappropriately and was trying to teach Goodman about the gravity of the courtroom. Oh, you know.
AP has donated one gift and says gifted
Cheers,
one
buddy.
law, news and laughter with Aussie Overlaw'd memberships.
Right. I think the judge was acting like a weirdo. I think that he overstepped his bounds. I think he was trying to do something good, but he fucked up royally, if I'm perfectly honest. He shouldn't have done what he did, and there was no point to it. Okay. Volcano, no thanks. We've got the last dildos. Georgia father Eric Arnold sues county who demolished family home without a court hearing. They took my dignity away. A devastated homeowner in Georgia is suing Macon-Bibb County officials after he claimed they demolished the home that he was fixing up for his family without a court hearing. Eric Arnold bought the property in Macon, Georgia, Macon, located 90 miles southeast of Atlanta in February 22 for just $15,000 for himself and his children. It's like they just took it all away from me. They took my dignity away from me like I wasn't even a person, like you don't even exist. We just do what we want. This is our town. Macon? Oh, like bacon. Macon rhymes with bacon. Okay, cheers. Messed up because he had the attitude that he had the power to do whatever he wanted. Yeah. And now I've just got Timon and Pumbaa from The Lion King. You waking? Oh, some bacon. The home was supposed to be a fixer-upper that Arnold was renovating and eventually planned to live in, but the plans changed when a dumpster ended up on his property and his home was labeled an imminent threat to the community. What? The county had already listed the home for demolition when he purchased the home. However, his lawyers argued that the father was not aware and there were no liens over the home and no public record for code enforcement. It was eventually demolished in November of 2023. How the hell do you... Wait, what? How do you just demolish a house if there are signs of someone living there? And more to the point, how do you purchase a house without knowing that it's ready, that they're preparing to demolish it? I mean, I don't know how property transfer works in America, but here we specifically have to notify potential purchasers of anything related to the property like that. The county didn't list it. Yep. You could be a big pig too. Oi! The demolition was part of Mayor Lester Miller's blight fight launched in 2021, which aimed to remove dangerous structures from neighborhoods, but Arnold insisted that he paid his tax and got the permits needed in order to save the home before it was torn down. I did everything I was supposed to. I thought I was okay. I wasn't. They still knocked the house down. While he still had work to do, the yard was neat, the exterior was clean, and the house was locked up, and most importantly, it was vastly in improved state of repair compared to when he purchased it. Herbert claims the county secretly sped up the demolition after he asked them to stop and remove his home from the demolition list. All that's left on the property now is a concrete slab at the end of the driveway and a post where the mailbox used to be. Arnold requested to be paid back the cost of the house and the cost of the renovations, according to the Macon Telegraph. Probably have neighborhoods full of homes like this. They're basically abandoned by the bank. Oh, shit. Clearly there was a deal between a county bureaucrat and a developer. And just watch, they won't allow him to rebuild. Arnold's home is the latest casualty of renovation projects that are abruptly stopped due to the eager bulldozers in the neighborhood, according to neighbor Jerry Collins. There's a lot of folks that are doing their best to bring these old houses back to life and revitalize the neighborhood. I see good things, but if this keeps up, these good things may not happen, and that's what really concerns me. Eric's lawsuit isn't just about one man's house, it's about protecting the constitutional rights of all property owners in the Macon-Bibb County, Herbert said during a press conference on the empty lot where the home used to be. According to WMAZ, the county said that they haven't seen any lawsuit yet, but did release a statement about the demolished house. Oh, did they just? Let's have a look. We were aware of the demolition on Sunnyvale Drive, a letter designating it as a nuisance per se and blighted, and it would be torn down if not repaired, was provided several years ago. Statement from county officials claims the property was marked as blighted before being sold to Arnold in February 22. They say the new homeowner had 20 months to pull any construction permits and fix it up, but they're not made aware of any, so demolition moved forward. Killdozer 2.0 coming soon. Let's just take a step back from that if we can. Alright, I'm going to take this opportunity to go, hey, if there's anybody sitting in chat that hasn't already, make sure you hit that sub button or just double check whether or not you're still subbed. And, maybe just consider slapping that like button. Oh, look at that. We've got more likes than we do concurrent viewers. So hopefully most of you have done your jobs, and I appreciate that. But, just every now and then, it's a good idea for me to sit and, technically it's grifting, isn't it? Time for a cigarette, says Bernice. See, and now I kind of want to go for a cigar. Oh well. All right, let's talk about some homegrown stuff, shall we? Woolworths and Coles are being sued by the Australian Competition Consumer Commission for allegedly misleading shoppers over the price of more than 500 products. Now, for the longest time, I've said that having effectively a duopoly in supermarkets here in Australia causes a distinct lack of competition. Because basically you've got the two. You've got Woolworths, you've got Coles, to a lesser extent you've got Aldi, and then you might have the local people that run what's called IGA, the Independent Grocers of Australia. Woolworths and Coles have pretty much 90% of the market share by the short and curlies. You don't have Woolworths in the UK anymore, so. But there's been some massive allegations of price gouging, particularly since the bug, and the fact that they're now engaging in allegedly misleading practices. There was a royal commission into them, or there was a call for a royal commission into them. Could be one or the other. But I think it's about time they actually looked at it. They changed Coles to Coles in Australia for some reason. Or did they just? Yes, there should be football tomorrow, Giovanni. Tomorrow, tonight, US time, there will be Lego stream, and then tomorrow will... Alrighty. At the time when most people are trying to cut their weekly grocery bills, Australia's supermarket giants have been hit with illegal action for allegedly misleading shoppers over the price of hundreds of products. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission on Monday announced it was launching separate actions in the federal court against the largest and second largest grocery chains, Woolworths and Coles. Grocery prices have skyrocketed in the US too. Think the government might be scapegoating the grocers? No, well, there's some very specific things that lead to show that Coles and Woolworths are, in my opinion, and I'm going to say it that way, price gouging, particularly in relation to, I don't know, milk and dairy products and that sort of stuff. So, the ACCC alleges that the two have systematically misled customers over price discounts on hundreds of everyday products. The ACCC chair, Gina Cass-Gottlieb, said that the alleged wrongdoing involved the sales of tens of millions of products, reaping significant extra revenue for the businesses. Woolworth's list of 266 items included Arnott's Tim Tams, Dolmio sauces, Doritos salsa, Friskies cat food, Kellogg's cereal, Stay Free pads, while the 245 products allegedly targeted by Coles include Arnott's Shapes biscuits, Band-Aids, Bega cheese, Cadbury chocolates, and Libra tampons. Do you have pick and mix in your Woolworths? I don't think so anymore. I sure as shit don't at my local. $10 for eggs is too damn high. Yep. These were not once-off pricing errors. The ACCC alleges that the misleading conduct took place over 20 months as part of the Woolworths price dropped and Coles down promotional campaigns. The ACCC alleges that on repeated occasions, the supermarket strategy was temporarily raise the price of goods before applying the so-called discount. Yeah, and that's where it gets a little bit weird, because there was allegedly evidence that about 3 months before the discount would be applied, the price of things would go up. So something that's worth $9 might go up to $11 or $12 or even $13. And then, 3 months down the track, you'd see an item being on special and it'd be $10. So the approach meant that although the boldly placed colored discount tickets showed a reduction from the previous regular price of the products, the discounted price was still higher than the price before the temporary price rise. The ACCC gave the example of how consumers were allegedly misled over a savings of 370-gram packets of Oreos. From at least July 1, 2021 until November 27, 2022, Woolworths offered the Oreos for sale at a regular price of $3.50 on a pre-existing price drop promotion. Then on November 28, the price was increased from $3.50 to $5 for 22 days. They increased the price from $3.50 to $5 for 3 weeks. And then on December 20, the product was placed on a prices drop promotion with a ticket showing the price drop to $4.50 and was a price of $5. Bread's become expensive too. Mum used to get 5 loaves for $1. Yeah, and the irony is now we're paying $5 for a loaf. So, fed up with them removing quality brand products and replacing with home brand or some brand I can't even produce the name of. That too. The prices dropped. Price of $4.50 was in fact 29% higher than the product's previous regular price of $3.50. The ACCC does not regulate prices. Instead, it acts on breaches of the Competition and Consumer Act 2010, which, as I was mentioning before, is what contains the Australian Competition and Consumer Law. Excuse me. That's a big part of the legislation that I deal with on a fairly frequent and regular basis. This includes making false or misleading claims about the prices of products of goods and services. While it's true that Woolworths and Coles reduced the shelf price of the products, the ACCC alleges that they didn't reveal that the starting price had recently been increased. It is this conduct of promoting a discount from a recently inflated price that the ACCC would mislead consumers. The ACCC's argument is the ordinary and reasonable consumer expects a discount to be genuine and not coming off of a recently inflated price. The net effect of this strategy is just an increased price. Yeah, because if, for example, so say for a number of years, I offer the price of a will to people at $330, including goods and services tax. If I then, for the course of 2 months, increase that price to, $550, including goods and services tax, and then a month later offer a discount so that it drops down to $475, that's a little bit of misleading and deceptive conduct. Eggs are so expensive now you have to make a quiche to justify buying them. Local donut shop says they can't compete with Dunkin' hiring migrants. Dunkin' isn't cheap and minimum wage is constant, but the ability to move prices in an entire area apparently makes a difference. Yes, and you see the same thing with gas station charges as well. If market prices have risen, they might actually be taking a loss on eggs to get you in the store. No, I can tell you right now, the price of eggs is ridiculous because that's one of the benefits of living in the city, but also having like working in the country as well, is I get to see the price differences, but more to the point, I get to speak with the farmers on the ground as well. And yeah. Also hate how the big supermarkets will shuffle the shelving every few years, just as you have learnt where all the products are. Yeah, because they want to keep you disorientated, because that's part of the Gruen effect, making sure that you basically impulse buy as much as possible. There's a reason why roast chickens are loss leaders, and they're usually placed at a very specific point in the store. There is a reason why the fresh food and the frozen food are usually placed at opposite ends. And there is a reason why you have to walk up and down every aisle in order to, get exactly what you want. Price differences in the city because of real estate taxes? No, they're not. Not here, they're not. I eat scrambled eggs for breakfast every day. I need protein because it helps build muscle when I go to the gym. Fair enough. What does it have to do with immigrants? I don't know. I was just reading through chat. Showed here some Black Friday deals were BS. Target left off price flyers in holders showing the same price. Oh, they do that all the time. The price of everything is because of real estate taxes. Yes, the 50 to 60% markup on milk, for example, is because property taxes. No, I call bullshit. I have 3 chooks, so I have a small flow of eggs. Cool. There's a reason why Golden Corral locks their bathrooms when I waddle in. Oh, Jesus. No, you didn't say it. Okay. Knowing Hayden talks to Aussie farmers warms my soul. Oh, cheers. The ACCC's argument is the ordinary reasonable consumer. Yeah, okay, got that. This is not the first time the ACCC has pursued such a claim. In 2020, the Commission successfully went after online retailer Kogan for engaging in a similar strategy. Kogan ran an online promotion advertising to consumers that they could use the code TAXTIME to reduce prices by 10% at the checkout, effectively cutting out GST, so that they would be eating the goods and services tax on whatever you're purchasing. I remember this, actually. The court found that ads conveyed a false or misleading representation because Kogan had increased the prices by more than 600 of its products immediately before the promotion by at least 10%. Only IGA will sell our local McMahon's dairy products. Oh, really? See, I like IGA because at least they will order shit in for you as well. Like, if there is something that is a very specific brand that is not stocked anywhere else, if you talk to the manager, half the time they will order shit in for you. I love that. A similar strategy of offering discounts that were not genuinely delivered has also been raised against insurer IAG. The Australian Securities and Investment Commission, ASIC, the big bad corporate regulator, alleges that IAG did not deliver promised loyalty discounts to customers because their premiums were increased before the discount was applied by more than the amount of the discount. IAG is now facing action for civil penalties from the regulator and class actions by affected customers. The ACCC is seeking fines which could be significant. In the Kogan case, the federal court awarded penalties of $350,000. But since November 22, potential penalties have risen. These increases are designed to ensure companies do not treat the possibility of being penalized as a cost of doing business that is outweighed and disregarded by the benefits that might come from contravention of law. Yeah, because that's a big issue. It's well known, like it's actually something that's part of the curriculum that I discussed during corporate law at law school. Certain companies build the cost of doing business badly into their expenses. If they know that they're going to get fined for something, but it is financially or potentially legally more beneficial or viable for them to break the law, they build it into their bottom line for the fiscal year. Not looking at any companies in particular. IGA charged 10 times more, better to try and buy direct. That is true. I will give you that. These new penalty amounts work on a sliding scale. They start at 50 million, but can go up exponentially to potentially 30% of the company's turnover during the period of contravening conduct. The amount is per contravention. This means that if the ACCC allegations of misleading conduct are established, each time the supermarkets mislead consumers, they would technically be liable to pay the full penalty amount. That said, in such a case, the court would likely take a more holistic approach in setting the penalty, taking several matters into account, including the extent of the conduct, the impact on consumers, and the gain to the business, or whether the conduct was deliberate. But if I were to look at companies, which one would you recommend? Well, let's see. Off the top of my head, there's certain car companies that built it in. Actually, you know what? I would probably. That's the main one that I think of. Is there's a particular car company that lost a lawsuit about that back in the 70s or the 80s. If the companies need to break the law to turn a profit, is it shocking that there are no honest companies? No, of course not. And that's just it. And that is the thing that I've been saying for a very long time. Is the idea of corporate responsibility to anyone aside from a shareholder is bullshit. If it is in the best interests of the company to act in a certain way, they are legally obligated to do it if it's going to be beneficial for the shareholders. If it is better for them to make money by screwing somebody over, they are required to act in that regard. So all these people that go out there and go, oh, we're acting in a carbon neutral manner in order to be good for the planet and all this sort of shit. Bullshit. They will only do it if there is some form of tax break, or if it is they've been directed by shareholders at a meeting, or various bits and pieces like that. Okay? There are instances where they would be required to break the law because it is more beneficial for the shareholders. For example, like this, where it is easier to pay a fine than, for example, to recall thousands upon thousands of cars that have faulty bumpers. It's legal to knowingly break laws just as long as the shareholders get paid. Pretty much. And when I say legal, I'm saying it's not so much it's legal and illegal. It's what you are doing is engaging in an act that attracts civil liability. Because from a civil perspective, you don't have legal and illegal. Because if it's illegal, it's a crime. If all it is a civil penalty, then yeah, sure, you might get fined, but there's no criminal prosecution, for example. So, eventually large companies act in the interests of corporate officers rather than shareholders. Yeah, look, eventually. But the point is they'll hide behind responsibility to the shareholders when they do shit. So. Ford, Nissan, Kia, GM, Chrysler, Tesla, Toyota, VW, and a few others all have built-in bullshit in their vehicles, probably. Don't know any details about that, and I would in no way cast any aspersions or defamatory meanings on it. Point is, people, do not expect a company, no matter who owns it, to act in your best interest or any other interest that may be contrary to them making a profit. Is all I'm saying. Because it doesn't happen, and it should not happen legally. Because then they would be opening themselves up to personal liability from the shareholders. It is better for them to get sued for committing it is better for them to get fined than to get sued by their shareholders. Toyota touted for their motors have motor issues built in the US market, but not the Japanese market. Really? Is that true, AP? Huh. Damn, I have no knowledge of that whatsoever. I have no idea. Fittingly, the ACCC is also asking the supermarkets to make a contribution to charities that provide food to people in need. As a wrench, you have no idea how the car companies fuck you over. I don't doubt it, honestly. I do not doubt it in the slightest. Notably, in May, Qantas agreed with the ACCC to pay a penalty of $100 million subject to court approval, and in addition to compensating customers for misleading conduct in selling tickets for flights that it had already cancelled. That is the most insane thing that I'd ever heard. Qantas. So for those of you in the US, Qantas is our major flight operator. It is like United or American Airlines selling tickets on flights that it already knew months ahead of time were never going to fly. They'd already cancelled them. It had already been removed from the system, and they were still accepting the tickets. They were actually accepting payment for services they knew that they were never going to be providing. It was insane. And they copped $100 million fine. That's it. And when I say that's it, like, that sounds like a hell of a lot of money. But for a major corporate, like for a major company like that, that may or may not be getting bailed out by the government, you think that might be internationally illegal? Well, millions of pounds of food are destroyed every year on purpose to keep market value up and avoid liability. That wouldn't shock me. The problem fraud's actual crime. Well, that's the end of the article. Damn, I was hoping that would go more into the thing with Qantas. Qantas agrees to $20 million payments to customers and subject to court approval, $100 million penalty. Qantas has admitted that it misled customers by advertising tickets for tens of thousands of flights that it had already decided to cancel, and by cancelling thousands more flights without promptly telling ticket holders of its decision. As part of an agreement announced today, the ACCC and Qantas will ask the federal court to impose a penalty of $100 million for breaching the Australian consumer law. Qantas has also agreed to a court-enforceable undertaking to pay $20 million to more than 86,000 customers who were sold tickets on flights that Qantas had already decided to cancel, or in some cases, who were re-accommodated on those flights after their original flights were cancelled. Qantas will pay $225 for domestic ticket holders and $450 to international ticket holders. These payments are on top of any remedies that consumers have already received from Qantas, such as alternative flights or refunds. He did say they pay the fine, and Qantas is always fucking up. Yep. Somebody needs to go to prison for that. Derna, I'll be perfectly honest. I don't have a very high opinion of Alan Joyce in the slightest. My personal opinion is that the little shit probably behind bars, but that's my own personal opinion. You know that they earned interest on the money? Oh shit, yeah. That money went into a corporate bank account somewhere with a not insignificant interest rate attached to it. That, the rest of us can only dream of. Here, you got to put money into a term deposit to get 4%, let alone anything else. We're pleased to have secured these admissions by Qantas that it misled customers, and its agreement that a very significant penalty is required as a result of the conduct. The size of the proposed penalty is an important milestone in enforcing the Australian consumer law. The trouble is that Qantas, much like the big four banks here, is too big for it to fall apart. It's too big for them to actually do anything that would cause any sort of remedial action. If they were to charge Qantas through the nose and, send it into bankruptcy or anything like that, a good chunk of the Australian economy would fall to pieces. Because all of a sudden, we wouldn't have things being transported by air. We wouldn't have, a whole bunch of shit going on. All I know about Qantas is from Rain Man. Yeah, exactly. Too big to fail. And that's the pain in the backside about it. Because they're more than willing to let people get screwed over in order to keep things chugging along and keep society from collapsing, basically. But anyway. The ACCC launched federal court action against Qantas in August of 23, alleging that between May 21 and July 22, Qantas advertised tickets for more than 8,000 cancelled flights. It also alleged that more than 10,000 flights scheduled to depart in May to July 22. They did not promptly notify existing ticket holders that the flights had been cancelled. So for the sum of the agreement with the ACCC, Qantas admits to the misleading representations, undertakes to make payments to customers, undertakes not to engage in this type of conduct in the future, will make joint submissions on the proposed $100 million penalty to the federal court. Excuse me, the court will determine a penalty after a hearing on a date to be fixed. Qantas is Australia's largest domestic airline operator. It is a publicly listed company which operates domestically and domestic and international passenger flights under its mainland brand Qantas and through its subsidiary Jetstar. It offers flights for sale through direct channels such as websites and apps, and indirect channels such as travel agents and third-party online bookings. Like, seriously. 10 years ago, there was another Qantas scandal. Yep. Costs more to travel in Australia than places out of Australia. You're not wrong, honestly. So. Oh, all right. Oh, I don't know. I got another 20 minutes in me. Might save that for another night. So, all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in today's show. Very much appreciate it. Please remember, you're not a piece of shit. You have value to do, contribute to society, and thank you very much for being here. It is very heartwarming to RIP my $50 flight to Bali. Very heartwarming to see that there are a whole 74 of you watching on YouTube, and I can't see the number on Rumble. But piss off everyone. No, not so much. What was I going to say? I'll be back here tomorrow for Lego, and then we'll have Titty Ball tomorrow night. But as always, people, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise. I will catch you all on the flip side. Cheers, peeps. I forgot to say, like, subscribe, share. Let's get some more people in here, people. Come on, you can do it. Share the channel out. I did actually realize yesterday that I've grown like 150 subs in the last 28 days, but with YouTube being YouTube, they'd taken away like 200. So, come on, you can do it. Love you all. Yeah.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.